to find a way to you till then.
I've been running from it, tired of running from it, scared of feeling something else, like I'm trying to get up out of this hole. I tried to be strong, I tried to make it work, but I've been feeling too numb.
Today, we are going to witness a video containing discrimination to children with learning disabilities.
Class, turn to page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. We're going to mark adjectives today. That goes for you as well, Ishana Vasti. Page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Can I have your attention, Ishan? Ishan! I said page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Read the first sentence and point out the adjectives. Page 38, Ishan. Adit Labba, just help the boy. Come on, the rest of you, look into your books. Read the first sentence and tell me what the adjectives are. Okay, come on. Let's all mark the adjectives together. Just read the sentence for me. Just read the sentence, Ishan.
ये तो नाच रहे.
Silence. Speak in English.
The letters are dancing.
They're dancing, are they? Okay, then read the dancing letters. Trying to be funny? Read the sentence loud and proper. I said loud and proper, Ishan. Loud and proper. Loud and proper. Stop it. Enough is enough. Get out. Get out of my class. Out. You want to leave as well? Who was laughing here? Who wants to follow him? I don't want to hear a titter in my class. Look into your books. Shameless boy. Open your books now. Who's going to tell me what the adjectives are? I don't want a sound from this class. Yes. Come on. Has everybody opened to page 38? Yes. Settle down, class. No whispering.
What will you do if you saw this happen next to you?
No matter where you are,
Never accept violence against any individual with special needs.
because it may happen not just in movies but also in reality. Good day, everyone. Do you have any idea about inclusive education, or known as special education? The following pictures may give you an idea about it.
अक्षर पहचानने में दिक्कत हो। जब आप APPLE एप्पल पढ़ती है तो आप अपने दिमाग में एक लाल लाल एप्पल बना लेती है। ईशान वो एप्पल पढ़ ही नहीं पाता शायद, इसलिए मतलब नहीं समझ पाता। पढ़ने लिखने के लिए अक्षरों की आवाज, उनकी बनावट, शब्दों का मतलब समझना जरूरी है। ये अहम जरूरत ईशान पूरी नहीं कर पा रहा।
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, ये सब बहाने हैं पढ़ाई टालने के।
तेरा ये पढ़ी
ये कैसे पढ़ सकते हैं? चाइनीज में?
अरे कोशिश तो कीजिए, चलिए ध्यान दीजिए।
क्या बेकार की बात कर रहे हैं? मैं कैसे पढ़ सकता हूँ?
इसकी बदतमीजी कर रहे हैं, आपका रवैया ठीक नहीं है। ये आप शैतानी कर रहे हैं। कुछ ऐसी ही कैफियत होती होगी ईशान की, अक्षर ही समझ में नहीं आते। इस पढ़ने लिखने की तकलीफ को डिसलेक्सिया कहते हैं। डिसलेक्सिया के साथ साथ और भी तकलीफें हो सकती हैं, जैसे कि मल्टीपल इंस्ट्रक्शन समझने में दिक्कत, टर्न टू पेज 65 चैप्टर 9 पैरा 4 लाइन 2 कंफ्यूजन, या फिर पुअर फाइन एंड ग्रॉस मोटर स्किल्स। क्या ईशान को अपने शर्ट के बटन या जूते की लेस बांधने में तकलीफ होती है? योहान, जब तुम उसकी तरफ बॉल फेंकते हो क्या वो पकड़ पाता है?
वो बॉल को कभी जज ही नहीं कर पाता,
क्योंकि वो साइज, डिस्टेंस और स्पीड इन तीनों को एक साथ समझ ही नहीं पाता। कितनी बड़ी बॉल कितनी दूर से कितनी तेज आ रही है, जब तक वो जान ले गाड़ी छोड़ जाती है।
Based on our research, special education is defined as purposeful intervention designed to eliminate obstacles that keeps children with disabilities to learning. The first research we are going to share to you was about including children with learning differences and experiences of independent school teachers that simply imply that children with learning disabilities should blend in any other school and regular classes. Also, this research will focus on different strategies on how the teacher will handle the children with disabilities.
The world exerts time and effort to study about individuals with learning disabilities. Now, the first research we are going to share to you was about including with learning differences. Experiences of independent schools teachers that implies that children with disabilities should blend in any other schools and regular classes. The research also focused on how these teachers will handle the children with disabilities. The components of this theory influence the three research questions. First, how do selected teachers in independent prep schools reflect on their behaviors associated with instructional tolerance theory? Second, given the institutional culture of independent prep schools, how, if at all, does boundary confusion play a role in teachers' attitudes towards students with learning differences? And the last one, how do teachers in the independent prep schools make meaning of professional development and differentiated instructions in relation to their instructional tolerance boundaries? Children with disabilities are not included in normal classroom because they have specific needs in learning. Not all schools offer special education, and for those schools who offer special education, cost a fortune. So, how do we able to fix this problem?
Now let's talk about the confusion boundaries and what its role when it comes to teacher attitude towards student with learning differences. Teaching student with special needs about confusion boundaries will protect them from harm and unwanted behavior and to improve their skills when it comes to handling or facing social situations.
Researchers recommended that there are schools who offers free special education. Here in the Philippines, we have the Philippine Normal University, the Shayranet Care Foundation Incorporation, and many more. Did you know that there are over 648 schools nationwide that have been allowed by the DepEd to offer free special education program that provides the necessary educational interventions for students with exceptionality?
This shows that children with disabilities are capable to achieve learning towards their education. A teacher in an independent school who advocates and supports them helps them to grow and expand their knowledge. To help learners with difficulties despite of the circumstances is a great achievement for the independent teachers as well as independent schools.
In this way, we can create a better world for everyone!
Now, let's talk about the attitude towards inclusive education. What is inclusive education? It is when all students, regardless of any challenges they may have, are placed in age-appropriate general education classes that are in their own neighborhood schools to receive high-quality instructions, interventions, and supports that enable them to meet success in core curriculum.
Teachers don't want to practice inclusive education. The following are the problems of the research entitled Attitudes Toward Inclusive Education. A problematic issue in these studies are about their participants. Most of them uses 200 sample participants and only a few uses more than 1,000. However, a problem remains why these resources is constantly lacking. Lack of resources are also mentioned in most of the recent studies. Compared with classroom and subject teachers, we see more problems in self-contained special education classrooms. Teachers are not prepared when it comes to teaching in an inclusive classroom. It is so hard for them to come up with strategies that could cater all the individual differences of their students. They need to collaborate with other special education teachers for them to fully motivate to their responsibility.
Now, let's talk about the findings in this research. These are the terms used in this research. Subject teacher versus special education teachers. It shows that subject teachers' opinion about inclusive education is neutral or in midpoint, while the teachers of special educations are above neutral or midpoint. Subject teachers focuses on the subject matter rather than focusing on students' developmental. Their point of view of inclusive education is just adding more work because subject teachers teach older children with higher thinking skills. While special education teachers' point of view about inclusive education is that it should be on mainstream classroom. When it comes to gender, female teachers are more likely positive than most of the male teachers. Now, when it comes to the age, younger teachers is more positive than older teachers. In this table, shown on your screen, are the teacher's attitude towards inclusive education. The teacher's general attitude towards inclusive education is negative, shown in table number 1. Workload is considered great significance towards teachers' evaluation inclusive education. However, there is a majority who believes that children with special education needs to be effectively supported in mainstream classroom. Teachers sense efficacy scale as a weak association towards inclusive education. Association evaluates teachers. Now we'll see table 1 and 3. This table shows that small majority agreed to special education. It is effective enough to support mainstream classroom. Finally, in table number 4 shown in your screen, that there are majority of teachers who disapprove in adding inclusive education while there is minority of teachers warmly advocates inclusive education in mainstream classroom.
Now, let's talk about the conclusion of this research. According to the research,
The results indicate that in Finland, the policy of inclusive education quickly stumbles into attitudinal barriers among teachers, especially in the upper grades of basic school instructed by subject teachers.
however, a small minority of teachers warmly approve of inclusion. This was especially true of special education teachers who have passively become more positive compared with a survey made some 15 years ago. So, this shows that there are a small group of teachers accept the implementation of inclusive education.
In this research, there is no recommendation because the purpose of this study is to know the attitude and readiness of teachers towards inclusive education. And note that the sole purpose of an educator is to teach every learner despite of their special needs.
Age, gender preferences has no boundary when you are a teacher, especially when you teach an inclusive education. Teachers' self-efficacy helps the students to promote their ability to learn. Acceptance for the learners with difficulties should always be present. The readiness of the teacher when they teach a learner with difficulties should always put their heart in learning.
Small talk, no conversation. That makes me impatient. I can't tell what you're thinking. Please tell me what you're thinking. Last night we were more than fine. Just tell me if you changed your mind. If you changed your mind.